All right, if everybody's good to go, first question for Coach Kenny Perry.
Coach, I've just been really impressed with what Jacoby's been able to do out of the backfield. Just what I know we've talked about is, explosiveness and his will to work and everything, but what has allowed him to, have this resurgence in the last couple of weeks?
I think he's obviously learned the offense, I think, and there's a role for somebody like him, Taj is going to grind it out. He's going to pound, get tough yards, get hit a bunch, where Jacoby in space is really tough to stop. And I think, and Cam is too, Cam Dickey. Unfortunately, when he went in, he didn't get the opportunity to carry the ball. But yeah, those two guys are going to be really good players. I've been happy the way they work, and they're good. They're great kids, and they're willing to do. They're going to do whatever they have to do to help the team win.
Has it been kind of a surprise that Jacoby's been able to make such an impact, from where he was in this?
Oh, sure. I think especially with freshmen, because they're just most of those guys aren't ready to play. But it kind of goes into his willingness to get in the weight room. He's put on some weight. He understands what we're doing offensively. He does a good job for me on special teams too. He's got a bigger role. So the more and more things he can handle, the more stuff we'll give him.
Kenny, when Taj was out there in the third quarter and whatnot, how much, and then to come back and make some of the runs that he made, how much resilience was he showing? What was he kind of?
Yeah, he was.
How
he
much
was
was
cramped.
he having to battle through being?
He was. I'll say this: when Taj Brooks says he's got anything wrong with him, he's definitely got something wrong with him. You guys remember, I guess 2 years ago, he had surgery, had some tissue taken out, and was back within the second. He missed a week of practice. So he's a throwback. So, yeah, when he told me, he said, Coach, something's wrong. I'm cramping up. And he said, I don't know if I pulled something. I'm cramping. I said, get out. We need to figure out what's going on. So they took him into the locker room, and whatever they did, they did. And, that's kind of the thing, though. We're just going to go on. I mean, then when he came back, obviously I was elated that he was back because we threw him back in there, and he was, juiced up, ready to go. So, yeah, it's it's part of the game. Injuries are, so you just got to move on to the next guy.
So when he came back out, he indicated that he was.
Yeah, he was good, and he actually looked better. So I don't, like I said, I don't know exactly what it was.
On the fake field goal, I know that Coach mentioned you had that installed a little bit before. And how much did you rep that play, and what made you see that as an option for that situation?
Well, yeah, we have a bunch of stuff we work during the season. It's tough enough that Jack, you got to be able to throw the ball just like he did, almost perfect, without a blind toss. And then they also have to give you that look. And, they showed that look throughout the season. And, and that part of the game is kind of like, man, we needed something. We needed a shot in the arm. And fortunately, you always, special teams, just, when you call something, it's got to work, because when it backfires on, it gives you the other team the same thing, their momentum. So you just, fortunately for us, it worked, and it was there, and our guys executed it, and, it was a good play. Good job. John Carlos made a hell of a block, and that was, he probably had the toughest assignment because we knew that guy was going to be rolling like that. So, but yeah, a lot of moving pieces have to work on that. So.
Coach, what's your thoughts on Iowa State?
Oh, great team. I mean, they're really. I can see why they're a top 10 team. They're physical. They play. I keep saying it. I know it's a broken record to you guys, but they play physical football like you got to play to win. And that's where we got to get to. We got to be able to play physical, which I still think we've made steps this year. I really do. I think we've made strides in becoming a lot more physical football team to be able to win in situations like when you're playing a team like this, because they're just going to try to big boy you, and that's what they're going to try to do. They're going to try to run through you, and they're going to tackle well, and we got to make a miss, and we got to capitalize on some plays, and we got to tackle well, and we got to win the game.
You see a bounce back game from Jack punting wise?
From last game?
Yeah.
Yeah, 100%. Like I said, he had a couple of really good punts. He had one miss on the, down there when you get down the red zone, or down there side of the end zone. I wish he would have, hit it inside the 10, but goes in the end zone. And we didn't really get that. Wasn't good field position play by us, but I wish if we had nailed it in there, then we'd have been saying, hey, great job. But unfortunately, he didn't. But he had some good balls. He kicked some really good. Their punt returner was really good too. So I thought our coverage was better, but his ball placement has a lot to do with that. So I was happy about that.
Jacoby was obviously important in the running game, but kind of taking over for Dre in the kick return game too.
Yeah, he's like I said, he's got a lot of. There's a lot to that kid that he can do. I don't know. I'm sure he could do some other stuff for us. I remember watching him back in high school. He punted. He played outside linebacker. He played quarterback. He did it all. So when you come from a small school, he's a Swiss Army knife. But he just plays so hard. That's the thing that I love about him. He doesn't say anything. He just goes out there, whatever you tell him to do. He does it as hard as he can. He comes back with a smile. So love coaching guys like that. And him and Cam are a breath of fresh air to coach.
Anything else for a coach?
What's Iowa State special teams look like?
They got their punt return is really good. Their receiver 13, he's good. Their kick, like I said, their kickoff team, they put a bunch of big old bruisers and they try to run right through your face. Punter's been there for a while. He does some stuff, but like I said, they're typical Iowa State. They're not going to beat themselves. They're a well coached team. I mean, that's what they're doing. They're just playing complimentary football across the board. The defense giving up very few yards and points, and they're tackling. Their offense is taking advantage of field position, and that's how they're playing. So we got to take advantage of the chances that we have. We got to make some stuff happen also. That's going to be my biggest chore this week is we got to drum up some stuff, to help us on the road. I think that's my responsibility and it's our guys' responsibility. So we got to come up with some stuff to help us, when those times when the game gets in a lull, that we make something happen, and that's what we're going to try to do.
For their defense, obviously, with John Haycock's been.
Yep.
Their scheme and execution's given people trouble for a decade now,
Yeah.
Texas Tech included. Well, when you look at it on film, what do you see as some of the key elements of counteraction?
Well,
some of the key points that you're
we've got to obviously their safeties are gonna be down the box. That middle safety they got, the way they play their outside guys and their corners. You got to make some of those guys miss. You got to win. We're gonna get some one-on-one chances, and we got to make those guys miss. And then the other part of it is, which I think Kitley's done a great job with, is we got to make their guys play action stuff. Our pop stuff. Anything that we've got to take some shots. We're going to take some shots on them because I think that's one thing that we've been doing pretty good lately is getting, Caleb getting downfield, Coy, Josh, whoever it is, and then our tight ends. We got to make those guys where they just can't screw them safeties down the box and load the box on our run game. So when they do that, you've got to be able to throw on top of them. And so I think, with our offense, we've been able to do that this year. So I don't see us stopping anytime, just because they're who they are. We still got to go out and play as well. So I think we got a good plan. We've been working on it, and we just got to go win. I mean, that's the way it is. You got to go win.
Will showed the ability to run the football. You take credit for that?
What's that?
Will, do you take credit for his ability to run the football?
No, Will's. I tell you what, man. I felt for Will. What a game that would be for him to come in and win. It would have been, and he got us in situations. Just unfortunate there at the end. But that's not gonna be the the play that sells that kid's career. He's gonna have a great career here, and you just hated that it happened because he came in and he was dealing, man. But unfortunately, in that situation, it came up against him and us, and went the other way. So we gotta start getting some of those.
With his ability, we obviously don't know who's starting on Saturday, but with his ability to run the football, how much does that help you guys?
I think
in
a
the
little
run
bit. It
game?
does. I think it helps. I think it helps Kitley call some stuff too. Because then they can't just be chasing us down from the backside like you saw some of the plays. Now they got to start honoring him because he can run. That's one thing. Will's got some legs. So that's one aspect that when he's in the game. Obviously Barron's arm and Barron's knowledge of the offense helps. Will just goes out there and plays sometimes. When you're young, that's kind of what you do. So, but yeah, he can run. So yeah, if he tucks it down like you saw a couple of those runs, he can get some yards on.
All good?
Thank you, Coach.
All right,
Thanks, guys.
thank you.
Appreciate you guys.